Hello everybody and welcome back to another video on the West Ham Way YouTube channel. West Ham face Olympiacos tomorrow, Thursday night. It's a big game, massive game. Of course, we lost the reverse fixture, 2-1 I believe it was, at Olympiacos. We currently sit first in the table, drawing on 6 points with Freiburg. Olympiacos on 4 points behind us. So it doesn't get much bigger than this, to be honest. This really could define the competition for us. We beat Olympiacos. We go 9 points. Freiburg, of course, they have TSC, who, let's be honest, I think we would beat ourselves. So, getting that 3 points, going 5 points clear of Olympiacos, it basically clears us at least that we're going to be staying in the Europa League, I would have thought. So, look, it's going to be a tough match. They're going to make it tough for us. But like I said, I think we really need to start looking at our options here because, let's be honest, the league for me is not a priority this season. It was a priority last season, but it's not a priority this season. And I'll explain to you why. The reason why is that there are so many other teams that will get relegated ahead of us, right? Burnley, Bournemouth, Luton and Sheffield. I mean, the four of them are kind of in their own category at the moment. Everton could get dragged into that race as well. Wolves, I think they play some good football, but if they're not careful, I can see it happening. Forest are doing okay at the moment, but I don't think they've got they're clear of it. And quite honestly, Palace as well. I think Palace could get themselves caught in a relegation sort of scrap. So for me, there's so many teams that are worse off than us that will get relegated ahead of us. Right? Then look at the other end of the table. Top six for me is unachievable this season. If I'm being realistic, it really is. You've got David Moyes in the last year of his contract. You've got Arsenal, Spurs, Villa, Newcastle, City, and Liverpool. Them for me are like the six that are going to be. I don't know where they're going to finish, but they're going to be the six in my eyes. Then seventh place, you've got Chelsea on the up, Manchester United, who could turn good, Brighton, of course, and also Brentford, who with Ivan Toney back could produce some magic in the Premier League because they beat us in our last match. So for me, I think the league is kind of done. I think we really, really would struggle to finish in the top 7 this season, especially when you think that, Tottenham, Chelsea, they don't have any European football. Manchester United might not have any European football come the later stages of this season with the way they're playing. Liverpool, of course, are in the Europa League like us, but they've got far more squad depth. And, of course, Arsenal and City, they're just such a big league above us. And Newcastle as well, they have got European football. And, some people did question as to whether their squad depth was going to come back to bite them, but it seems like they're doing pretty well at the moment. So for me, relegation isn't an option. Getting in the top 7 isn't an option. So European football has to be our number one priority this season. Playing in Europe has to be our number one priority because if we won the Europa League, then we get Champions League next season. If we get demoted to the Conference League and win that, we get Europa League for next season. There is no way we'll get relegated this season. There just is no actual way. If we didn't get relegated last season, there's no way it's going to happen this season. And also for me, there's no way we're going to get in the top 7 of the Premier League. So, Moyes clearly showed that his priority at the moment is the Premier League. He showed that because he did a second string side against Olympiacos and ultimately it cost us a defeat. Against Olympiacos this time around at home, we need to be fielding our strongest possible 11. We really do. Also finishing top of the group, not just getting through the top of the group is really important. I'm just going to bring up the Champions League standings at the moment just to give you an idea. So obviously, as you know, if you finish third in the Champions League, you drop down to the Europa League. Those who finish second in the Europa League then face the teams that have dropped down for the Champions League. Those who finish first in the Europa League bypass that stage completely. So you play one less game, one less banana skin, all's good. Currently, third place, if the competition ended today and we finished in second place, we would have to face Manchester United, Sevilla, Braga, Red Bull Salzburg with Benfica not far behind, Feyenoord, AC Milan, Newcastle or Paris Saint-Germain, all within a point of each other. Crvena, okay, obviously not, a bit of a worry, and Shakhtar Donetsk. So there's some really big teams in there, some really big teams. Manchester United, of course, they drop down. They tend to beat us on our day. PSV and Sevilla, both really good sides, both on 2 points. Braga on 3 points. Union Berlin, I mean, they're a good side as well. Benfica are only 3 points behind Salzburg. They're a good side. Feyenoord and Celtic, you know, Feyenoord I think are a good side. I rate them quite highly. But then you've got Dortmund, Paris Saint-Germain, AC Milan and Newcastle all within 3 points of each other. I think any of those sides dropping down into the Europa League, they have a really strong chance of winning it. Obviously, City and Leipzig are absolutely clear in the Champions League. Porto are only 3 points behind, in front, of Shakhtar. So one of them could drop down. But basically what I'm trying to say is, and as we all know, the teams that are going to drop down we're not getting the strugglers, we're not getting the stragglers from the Champions League. We're getting good sides. We could get AC Milan, Newcastle, PSG or Dortmund. We could get Manchester United. We could get PSV. We could get Sevilla, who of course are the serial winners of the Europa League. There are a lot of good sides that are going to drop down this season to the Europa League. And of course, if we don't finish first in our group, then the chances of us being able to progress in this competition, which again, like I said, should be our number one priority this season, is going to really, really diminish. So make no mistake, Olympiacos is a must-win game for us, and we have to field our strongest 11. Now, what is that strongest 11, you ask? Well, again, I'm going to tell you. Areola in goal. There's not much in it, to be fair, between him and Fabianski, but I just think Areola, it makes sense for him to start. Left back, Emerson, been amazing this season. Really loved him going forward. Zuma is a little bit of an injury doubt. I believe he's the only injury doubt that we have. But of course, if he's fit, then I would start Zuma and Aged. Mavropanos may be harsh to say he's going to miss out, but again, there's not a huge amount in it between the three defenders for me. I think Zuma has to start if he's the skipper, and Aged and Mavropanos, there's not too much in it for me. I wouldn't be upset either starting. Soufal, of course, at right back. Again, I think he's been really, really good this season. We then move on to the more difficult stages of the team, and I think we just need to go back to how we were playing at the start of the season. Alvarez in that position, just in front of the defence, just sweeping, not going forward too much. You've got Ward-Prowse and Paqueta. They're both there in the kind of Ward-Prowse in the more sort of 10 role, and Paqueta in just that free roam, do what you do as you please sort of role. If you want to come back, get the ball deep. If you want to go forward, Ward-Prowse can cover, Alvarez can cover. Easy stuff, right? Then I would have... This is the really tough bit for me. Well, Kudus has to start, let's be fair. Kudus absolutely has to start with the way he's been playing. Jarrod Bowen, again, I mean, when we played against Arsenal, we went for Kudus, Bowen and Benrahma. I wouldn't mind exploring that too much. I think that the way we play normally is dependent on Antonio, but if we're going to switch it up to this high press, high intensity, lead from the front sort of system, which I think actually suits Moyes quite well and suits our players quite well, then I think Benrahma, Bowen and Kudus is and it's probably the only way I can see getting Kudus in, because Kudus has to be in that right hand side for me, and Bowen pretty much has to play either centre or on the right. So I think they can interchange as well. If Kudus cuts in, Bowen can go to the right. If Kudus cuts in, then Bowen can drop deep or whatever. So I think that'll probably be my strongest 11 for West Ham at the moment. Benrahma is a bit iffy for me. I might even play Antonio on the left, but I think, the way he's been playing recently has been very poor. Even Mubama, to be fair. I mean, fucking hell, Moyes, please put Mubama in this bloody squad. I literally cannot sit for another 30 minutes of Danny Ings coming on for a cameo. I know he earns 125k a week, but I'd honestly just rather he earns it on the bench. I don't want to see him, play this. You know what you're getting from Ings. Yeah, he's a good finisher, one of the better finishers we've seen in the league, probably one of the better finishers we've had at the club. But, well, I mean, based on history, not that he's shown it at West Ham, but you could just tell this is the end of his career. After this, he won't make a big Premier League move, not with a European side. So Mubama's young, he's energetic. We want to get him tied down to a decent contract, and we can't do that if we're not even giving him a chance. I mean, I was saying it when Thomas Souček was playing his games last season. If you're Flynn Downs watching Thomas Souček getting every week, you're like, what am I doing here? Like, what is the point in even being here if this guy is getting in ahead of me? And I think the same this season, You got Antonio who can't hit a barn door at the moment. You've got Danny Ings who basically just comes on and just... it's hard to even describe what he does. He just kind of just roams around and, saunters about, and then he gets a chance. I mean, if you're Mubama, you're not even on the bench. You're sitting in the crowd, just sitting there like, why am I here? Like, literally, I know I'm getting a paycheck here, but bar that, why am I actually here? If these two people are getting ahead of me in a game of football, and not just one game. We're talking about what we're like 11, 12 games in the season, played 3 games Europa League, a couple of cup games. Talk about a good 15, 16 games in the season. Mubama has not started once, and I don't even think he's actually had a sub appearance yet. Definitely not the Premier League, I don't think. Maybe in a couple of cup competitions. Haven't really seen him in Europe either. You're just sitting there thinking, what's the point? I'm not surprised he's not signing a new contract. So, Mubama, I'd love to see him involved in the game like tomorrow as well. I know it's a must-win for us, and I know that playing him is a bit risky, but you're playing 45 minutes, he's not up to the task. Fair enough, you sub him off. It is what it is. You'd rather do that than put Ings on, who you know is just not going to make an impact. Yeah, he's experienced, and yeah, he might make more of an impact than Mubama, although I fail to see how that would be possible. But surely the risk-reward is way more in favour of Mubama than it is with Danny Ings, because you say you know what you're going to get with him. You do, but it's not good. It's not good what you're going to get with him. We know how he can play. We know what he's done in the past, but the problem is he's not that player that he once was that's going to run in behind and score goals. He's that player where you've got to put it on a plate for him and he's going to score. Well, we can't put it on a plate for him. We struggle to create chances as it is, let alone clear-cut chances he's going to put in the back of the net. And even failing that, there have been a lot of times this season where he's had that chance and he's not taking it. So get Mubama on the pitch. I don't want to see Danny Ings play for this club. I really, really don't. Nothing against him as a player. I just don't think he's good enough at all. Same for Angelo Bonner, to be honest. I know he's had a couple of appearances in Europe, but this season is the first time I've actually felt like he's human, like age is actually catching up with him a little bit. He just looks a little bit off it, and I absolutely love Ogbonna. When he extended his contract, I thought it was a really smart move, because whenever he came in last season, I thought he was really, really, he came in and he just got the job done. There was no kind of mitigating period. There was no like, I need to get up to speed with the game. It was like he was playing week in, week out. This year, Ogbonna, when he's come in and when we've needed him, he's just looked like he's a little bit past it, which is really sad to say. And obviously, I mean no disrespect in that, but it just looks like, he's just a couple of yards behind every single ball. Even that own goal he scored against Olympiacos and the issues he's had in the games that I've seen him play. But anyway, going on to the actual match prediction, I think it'll be the same scoreline it was last time, this time in favour of us, 2-1 to West Ham. I just think this game is too important for us to lose. I think Moyes recognises as well, if he's smart, that probably if he wants to keep his job, Europe is the only way he's going to be able to do it. Surely he looks at that league table and thinks, I can give it a go, but I'm not going to be able to get this side into top 6. So surely we just need to grab the ball by the horns and just put all of our effort. I mean, pretty much the only reason he survived last season was because of Europe, So surely he's going to sit there and think, there's so many sides that are better than us this year. Let's just put all our eggs in the basket. If we finish 14th this year, but we have a really good crack at Europe, I'm a happy man. I know we've tried our best. I know we've fielded the best 11. We've given ourselves the best chance. We finished first in the group. We got maybe an unlucky draw. It is what it is. Fair enough. But if we spend this season saying, well, look, we want to push for top 7, top 8, we finished 8th this season, but we kind of, we lose in Europe because we fielded maybe a second string side. That for me is not good enough, and that for me would not be a good season, because like I said, I don't think we'll get top 7 and I don't think we'll get relegated. So hopefully it'll be a good result for West Ham. Like I say, winning for us tomorrow is massive. I imagine Freiburg will win as well, and then it will kind of be the last game, when we play Freiburg. Will we be able to beat them to finish top of the group? Even if we don't, Olympiacos have every chance of beating Freiburg themselves. So winning tomorrow gives us the absolute best chance to progress in this competition and hopefully have another crack at some silverware.